So good morning, everybody. It is another beautiful Wednesday, and today we get to discuss the use of phones and internet and the impact it has on our children. So before we proceed, I would want to ask Dr. Kerubo and Rachel to please introduce yourselves and then tell us what you do again. Then we go to our main topic of discussion. Dr. Kerubo?
Thank you. So my name is Dr. Lilian Kerubo. I am a behavior pediatrician. I work in both public and private institutions, and I run a clinic called DIF ABA Clinic that offers online and home behavior therapy.
Okay. Rachel?
Hi everyone. My name is
Hello.
Rachel. I'm a psychologist by profession. And I'm happy to be here.
It's nice to have you ladies. So today we are going to discuss on the use of phones and internet. This has been a big challenge, and I'm sure Dr. Kerubo and Rachel have already started to see the effects of early start use of phones and internet. Yesterday we did post a question on when should we introduce our kids to phones and internet. Yeah, okay, I got a number of responses, but one was 4 months, and I think she was the most honest, to be sincere, because you get kids as young as 6 weeks, and the parents are already telling you, my baby really likes the phone, my baby really likes the internet. 6 weeks, and you even wonder, can this baby actually understand? So starting with you, Rachel, when do you think should we introduce smartphones in our children's lives? Not owning, but just introduction. Yeah.
And for clarification, do you mean smartphone as gadgets or all electronics?
For now, we do. Okay, we can do. Okay, yes. Okay, let's talk of electronics.
Okay.
Like now, so that means it's a smartphone,
the TV,
it's a tablet,
the smartphone, tablet.
Yeah,
okay,
it's the
gamers, all that. Okay.
Yeah.
I think from a professional perspective, children tend to have a very short entertainment span. So electronics gives them that urge. So at what age do you introduce them? I think introduction to electronics, especially for the phone, the 6 months, 6 weeks, I think is too early. Because what is attracting them is they are not able to comprehend what is there, but it's the colors or even the music. And unfortunately, at that age, what you're doing, you're making them satisfy their short concentration span, because electronics has a way of entertaining throughout. It does not end. If that clips end, another one comes in. So they are on entertainment mode throughout. But is that the reality on the ground? So for children that are young, I think introducing them to electronics is not the problem. Regulating what they are watching and at what time, the time limit is what matters. Because if they'll be entertained throughout, they will assume life is full of entertainment, and you have reduced the entertainment span such that even you talking to them become boring. They want a gadget that will keep entertaining them. If you're introducing them to social media, the recommended is 13 years and above. Why? This person has a sense of understanding what they are doing and can also be able to regulate what is it that they are watching or they are posting or they are doing. So that a 13-year-old has an understanding of what she or he is posting or watching online, even though even at that point you still need to regulate what is it they are watching or they are being exposed to. So that's what I would say.
Okay. So Dr. Kerubo, what are some of the behavioral challenges that you encounter with these kids who are 1 year, 2 years, toddlers who are introduced to the phones and all the electronic gadgets at a young age?
Yes, so Walimu Rachel has done well to introduce us on the introduction of when to introduce them. So as she has said, gadgets offer a quick satisfaction. You can go on if you are sad, for example, sometimes when you're sad and you go on Facebook and you see a meme that's hilarious, within a fraction of a second, your mood has changed from sadness to joy or sadness to happiness. So that happens also with children. Unfortunately, that's not what is real life. In real life, if you're sad, that sadness may persist for a a period of time. So the behavior challenges we see is addiction. They get addicted to phones or tablets or TV, especially things with screen. They get addicted such that they feel they cannot be without the gadget. And sometimes when you withdraw the gadget, when you say maybe it's time to for bed or it's time to pray or it's time to eat, they actually get very cranky. They refuse to eat. If they're bigger kids, they can throw things around. They can call you names. They can become very unruly. So that's one of the behavior challenges, a kind of addiction. We also see hyperactivity. Children become hyperactive because remember the videos on these screens are very upbeat. They are very energetic. So that energy is transferred to them. And so they are very hyperactive. They want to do so many things at the same time. The pitch of their voice is usually high. They're usually shouting. They don't talk in a normal decibel. They talk very loudly. They are also impulsive because they see in the cartoons when somebody wants something, they just go and get it. Or when somebody asks for something, they get it immediately. So they want the same in real life. So they become very impulsive. They feel they want a cookie or a sugar candy, they just go and take, even without asking, even if it's not the time for snacks. So they become impulsive. They may also, if depending on what they watch, there is a transference. For those of us who are familiar with the old book that says, by beholding, you become transformed.
Yeah.
So they become the exact thing they're watching. So for example, if they're watching violent videos, they will be violent. They will start beating people. If they're watching videos that people use curse words, they will start using curse words, especially if they're very young. They will use the curse words. If they watch these pop videos, music videos on YouTube, the way those people dance there is the way they will dance. You've seen videos of Kenyan children going viral of them dancing, shaking and gyrating, and you're like, what? Simply because of what they watch. In my kids, what I've observed is the accent. My children speak like Americans or sometimes like the British, because the videos they watch have the people who are starring in those videos have that accent. So even the accent, the way they talk, the way they move, the way they walk, the way they relate with others, usually is a reflection of what they are watching.
Okay. So thank you so much. Yeah. So Rachel, you talked about them being introduced to the internet. What about actually owning, like you going to the shop and gifting your son or daughter a smartphone? Because
I'll ask the parent what is the reason behind it. Because at times when you're buying a book, the reason behind it is that that child will use it for study. So for the phone, what is the reason or what is the purpose that you're giving that child a phone? If for you to communicate and be able to reach them, and they hardly use or carry that phone to school, meaning maybe if they're going to school, you hardly access them because they are. Why does school not allow phones in school? Because it is a distractor and it will prevent them from day to day. So even at home, when you're allowing them to have a phone, maybe throughout the day or during the weekend, what is your purpose? If the purpose is communication, then I think you should put one central, like one that is used for the house, not for specific individual or child. Why would I say that? The aspect of owning a phone brings isolation. You will find any child that have a phone in the house, maybe there are 3 children and one have, the fight will be now concentrated on the phone. Why? Because everyone is secluding themselves and they're using that opportunity either to scroll and to learn more. So is it adding value to your children by giving them a phone or not? What is the purpose? Now, if purpose is communication, get one that can be used for communication. And if those children are never left alone, there's someone to take care of them. I think then you can use that as your channel of reaching them. If not so, when you're giving a child a phone, or maybe as a reward, or this is what they'll be using, be keen to monitor what is it they're doing with. Because likelihood of creating antisocial behaviors where they only be with themselves, but it's because they're being entertained and they are getting the satisfaction that they are getting from. But what are you doing? You're creating more damage because these people cannot interact with people and they can never get to know how well you need to interact with people. So these are the keyboard warriors that you're developing. These are the vulgar people, because the kind of thing they are watching or they are interacting with, you have no idea. So if you're to gift your child a phone, get to know the purpose, and also monitor what is it they are doing with. If you don't have a legit purpose or reason why you're giving them, it's just for fun, all other children have, the
Yeah.
repercussion you're creating is that you're damaging that child ability to grow emotionally, ability to socialize with people socially, and hardly would you even yourself get the attention of the child that you like. Because every time they either be in their rooms, or even when they think they're sleeping, they've covered themselves and they're on their phone. So even their sleep pattern will be affected. In the morning, you're calling them to go to school, they're still sleepy. But at what point do they sleep? You have no idea. So monitoring it and getting the purpose for it is key.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's very important because I read about two people, and I chose this specifically because they're some of the people who have really contributed when it comes to technology in the world, and that's Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. Bill Gates did not give their kids a smartphone before the age of 14, and the reasoning was exactly what you said. And Steve Jobs, you see, his kids were younger, and so the schools that they went in, of course, they were very good schools, and so for them technology was the norm. But you can imagine he opted out technology as a way of teaching their children. So he opted for a pencil and a chalkboard. And since then, I think all the schools in most of the Silicon Valley opted that, because then there has to be a reason. As Steve Jobs is the one who invented iPads, and he's denying his kids to actually use iPads. So now that we are in the COVID era, you see, what COVID era has brought is like now replacing of the chalk and the pencil to typing, and you see virtual education and all that. What should we be expecting? What should we be anticipating as far as the education, and then the issue of soft skills, just like what Rachel has reiterated, and also the kind of children we are going to bring as far as their interaction and cooperation is concerned? Dr. Kerubo.
Thank you. So, as you've said, to me, technology is not something we can run away from. We cannot say, never ever will my children access the internet, never ever will my children use an iPad or an iPhone or whatever gadget that you have in the house. To me, technology is a gift that God has given us through the brains of the geniuses who invent these things, because it has improved connectivity. Now we can have a meeting without being in the same room. Imagine that 2 years ago or 3 years ago, that would be, we cannot imagine something like that. People can be treated, during COVID, there were no flights, but doctors who are in the UK or wherever could treat patients who are here. The other day I saw the former royals, Meghan Markle and husband, Prince Harry. They did an off-site photo shoot where an iPad was in front of them, but the photographer was all the way in England. So to me, technology is actually a very good gift. However, as with everything God has given us, there needs to be moderation. Just like we need to moderate food, we need to moderate entertainment, we need to moderate dressing, we need to moderate education, even technology needs to be moderated. So one of the key reasons you have to ask is, what are the needs of the child right now, and what are the developmental goals of the child right now? For example, a child who is 1 year or close to 1 year, their needs are learning how to speak. They need to learn how to speak. At least they should be giving word. They should be able to say maybe 10 to 20 words. They should be able to stand around and walk around. They should be able to say hello. They should be able to ask for something. If they're in need of something, they should be able to ask for help. So those are the needs of the child. Then ask yourself, can technology help me achieve these goals for this child? And the answer is yes. However, you have to choose which technology you're going to use. For example, if you want to increase your child's vocabulary, there are many apps out there that can help your child to learn words, that can help your child to put syllables together to form a word, that can help your child to practice handwriting and letter formation. There's so many apps. And the good thing with apps is that they don't have to be connected to the internet all the time. You can download them and then go offline. That way you are sure that your child is not going beyond what the app is supposed to do. So I would say, as you're choosing which technology to introduce your child to, as you're choosing which gadgets to give your child, or to access your child with, it has to be one that helps them with their developmental goals And if they have a special need, some children have special needs. For example, children with cerebral palsy, they may not be able to talk. Technology has enabled these people to communicate with their parents, with their doctors, because they can tap on a tablet to express what they feel. For example, you can have a chart that has different types of food on it. Then they just touch on the food they would like because they're not able to talk. So such children may need to have a gadget maybe a longer time than other children because it is a communicative device. So I would say number one is decide what the child's goals are and pick an app or a gadget that is in line with that development. Number two is to put in checks and balances, especially if you have teenagers or a bit older, the pre-teens, who are very curious and have knowledge and they can type away and they can do things. So you may need to put checks and balances. Some of these include putting password protection. For example, if you have TVs like DSTV that has a lot of channels, you may have to block some channels and put a password in them. That way you know that only you and maybe the spouse has the password, so only you can access certain channels. Other ways of controlling it could be checking the history. When you come back at the end of the day, if it was a laptop or a computer, go back to the history and see what sites were visited. Block some sites permanently, especially pornographic sites. There's a way you can block them. You can talk to your internet provider to say this, the same way in the workplace you may not be able to access Facebook or YouTube or pornography. The same way you can block in your house that there should be no access to the following sites. The other way is once the children are old enough is actually to have a talk with them. Tell them the benefits of technology versus the dangers of technology, and let them buy into the idea that yes, there should be moderation. As much as I'm enjoying internet, there should be moderation. Let them also own that decision so that it doesn't feel like a dictatorship. The other way is to always be on the lookout. Be like a policeman or a security guard. Always have your mind alert. Watch out for things that could be clues that this person may be going into a dangerous zone. If your child starts withdrawing, all of a sudden they don't want to talk to you, they're keeping secrets from you, they are running and locking themselves in the room, those are clues that something is going on. Maybe they have an internet boyfriend, maybe they've met a pervert who's giving them money and gifts and they're running away. We've heard of stories of girls who are 14, they've been lured to a study group through Facebook and then they go and disappear for 3-4 days. That's how it happens. So be on the lookout for things like withdrawal, things like anger outbursts, rudeness, violence, disappearing away from home for a few days, delinquency, not going to school, theft, starting to steal things in the house. So be on the lookout for such things.
Okay, thank you. So, Rachel, now that you have seen 13 years is that magic number that you can actually now consider of letting your kids go into the social media world. But before that, how should we equip our children so that so that they know the world, not everybody actually wishes the best for them?
I think, Daktari, the issue is not that not everyone wishes them well. I think life generally provides the good and the bad. And because you'll be given the free will to choose which options you have to. And for parents like us, I think the areas you've failed is to be involved in helping them understand the good and the bad. I think most parents, what they do, they put the word don't. I don't want you to get into Facebook. I don't want you to get into Instagram. And denial brings curiosity. So these children don't get into the internet out of information and understanding what they want and how they will use it, but they go there out of curiosity. And at times, even the parents that are telling you don't use Facebook, they don't have the information verified. What is it that is wrong with Facebook? Because we've had stories of cases in Facebook or Instagram or in the social media that have resulted to children disappearing, as Dr. is saying. But does it make the whole Facebook or Instagram or social media wrong? It is the same platform that we are using that is edifying other people. So there is the good part of technology and there is a bad part of technology. But as parents, where we are failing is to first understand how this technology integrates into our children's life or even our own life. So, for instance, for a parent who only use social media to check out stories that are trending, or events, or like they use it as news avenue to receive news, they may not understand that there's someone else using it as a marketing tool. The same platform that someone else is using to post their photos as to get likes, it is the same platform that someone else is using to make business. So also parent getting to understand there are various uses of social media, and preventing your child from, because of your own fears of the stories you've had, does not make your child take that fear. Selling fear does not help the child to get to know what to avoid to. So let's show the both sides. This is an internet, you can access anything, but values is what prevent the child from going to those sites that you don't want. So I'll urge parents to teach values. And values, you're looking at what is this child, you intend them to behave or to have characters and values on what standard. Is it a religious stand? Which stand is that you have as a parent? And this can only be done when you're having a conversation. So not telling the child that you only get to access social media when you're 13 and you leave it there. Between 0 to 13, it is your time to teach. You have 13 years to help the child understand these are the shortcomings, these are the advantages, this is how you can use technology and why it has limit. And it's not out of fear, but also out of helping them understand it is a choice. And the choice is based on the values that you install in yourself and the child at large. So I think that's generally what I could say.
Okay. So now you are the mother of this 14-year-old. What things should this girl be looking out for? Like, what are the red flags? For example, I'm 13 and you're now my mom and you're telling me all that. But then what are the things that I should actually be looking out for so that when I see this, I just know this is actually a bad idea? Like, what information will people be trying to get from me so that it may like that give out a red bulb or something to make me feel like maybe these are the lines that I should not be crossing.
So as a parent, I'm trying to clarify your question. As a parent, you're looking at the red flag you should look out to get to know your child or your teenage is not in the right social media practice.
No.
Or what is your question?
My question is, like, I'm the 13-year-old and yes, I'm very new on social media. What are the things that I should be looking out into so that I may be able to know these are signs of red flags as far as this page or this friend request is concerned?
I think also for a 13-year-old, I would say if you understand what is the purpose of whatever you're doing. When you go to a shop and ask for a shoe, the shoe has its use and there's a need. So for a 13-year-old, what is the need for social media? Understanding that the need for social media helps you understand what is it that you're looking out for. Otherwise, you'll buy into anything that is presented. But for the 13 years, you're just getting to understand, I'm getting the social media to interact and to learn from my friends. So even the connection that you connect with, you're connecting with people that you know, familiar people. Because all these social media have a way of allowing, do you know this person, you know them from this school. So helping the teenager get to understand the purpose of social media, that is one. Is it to connect with people? Is it to learn new things? Then also helping the teenager to get to know the limits. Because everything without limits then becomes dangerous. So what are the limits that actually this person can be able to? And the limit comes in understanding that not all sides are good. So what are these sides that are not good? And two, why are they not good? Because one, they pervert your morals. Two, they take your time. Three, they are outsourcing your data. Different reasons as to why you would say this site is not good. Two, even the people that you follow, how much do they impact your life? Because even most of the social media, most of the followers that you're getting, they are people that you know. Either you've seen them on TV or you've seen them on videos. What is it that you're impacting? And that I will ask, what is your purpose? Is it to grow? Is it to get more understanding? The people that you follow, how are they impacting your life? So once you give that teenager a reason to, what is it that they are looking for? Believe you me, that is the urge that drives them to look for more and more. And if it does not satisfy them, then the need is different.
Okay. Dr. Kerubo, do you have it? Sorry, Dr. Kiba, do you have anything to add on that?
Yes, I do. So one of the things you can tell your child as they go onto social media is the chat tool. They have to be very careful. First of all, even adding friends, they have to only add friends who they know and whose picture they can identify. Nowadays, people use code names and nicknames, and then they put a picture of a tree or a picture of a cartoon. I would advise such a child, don't add people unless you know them. And then number 2, don't chat with people unless you know them. If anybody asks for pictures of you, especially nude pictures, nowadays everybody, apparently that is the opening remark. Send me your nude pictures. So if anybody asks for nude pictures, they should not be given under any circumstances, even if every other child is doing it. The other caution I would give such a child is, of course, the duration of time you spend online. You know, if you are online, therefore available to chat from 8 a.m. to maybe 1 p.m., that's a very long time. You can easily be lured. You can easily be manipulated. That's a very long time to be available online. The other caution I would give such a child is when people start asking very personal questions on the social media. For example, they might ask, where do you live? Who do you live with? What time does your mom come home? What time does your dad come home? Do you know where they keep their wallets or their valuables? Do you know their ATM pins? Those are very personal questions. So caution your child against answering such questions. Sometimes children are very innocent. They just feel, an adult is asking me questions, let me answer. But it can be a trap. And it can be a trick so that they can come rob you or hurt you or kidnap you. The other thing young people like to do is challenges. If you go on Facebook, there's always a challenge, firstborn challenge. I don't know. Every new day there's a new challenge. Some of the challenges are good, but there's some that are bad. For example, somebody may start a challenge of, showing your house, doing a live tour of your house, or a challenge of very dangerous videos. There's a time there was a video going around the world where you would do something, then you gain points. You do something, then you gain points. And the last thing you had to do was to jump off a building. And there are some children who lost lives doing that online challenge. So, caution them that even some of these challenges may not have the best interest. So just don't jump into any challenge just because it's fashionable. Those are the cautions I would give. And again, as Dr. Rachel has said, anything you do, measure it against your values. The way, I'm sorry, I keep going to the Bible because I realize our listeners are. But Philippians 4:8 says that whatever is true, just, noble, trustworthy, wholesome, holy, think on these things. So even as you engage on social media, mirror it against your value system. Compare, are they meeting my value system? And if they are not, stop it, cut it out right there and then.
Yeah, I think that's very important. And I think we come to appreciate the fact that values acts as actually foundation where everything you are going to be building on. And as a parent, the first thing you really want to make sure you have done when your kids are still at home is make sure that they understand their actually values and what those values are. And that they'll always be tested against the values and they should always choose to stand by them. And now for the modern age mothers, we have heard of mothers who usually start social media handles and pages for their children. Like they start showing themselves from the time they are pregnant to the time this baby is born. And this baby will carry the name of his page still forever and ever. What are your thoughts on that, Rachel?
Dr. I foresee a scenario where these adults now will come for therapy because they've lost their identity. Why? They went to school and everyone tells you unaringa hapa and we saw how you were born. We have your whole scope of exactly how your life has been. And it's devastating because it was not the free will of this child to experience that. Or you'll have scenarios where the children decide to sue their parents. You were making money with me. It was not their choice. Those are foreseen kind of challenges that will come with. But I think my greatest concern is their esteem. Because I think each and every child has a space between 10, 13, 14, where they're trying to get their own independence, when they're trying to get to know who am I. And with these children that have already been exposed to the internet at a very tender age, there is a perceived image that has already been put, which could be the child that does not want to run with that. Because depending on different personality, maybe the parents are more on social medias and they are okay with their lives being in public, but the child picks a different personality that they want privacy, they don't want things to do with people getting outside, but all their lives has been exposed outside. It creates a lot of conflict within them than who am I. So they have to put a facade that when they're outside, they are this kind of person, but when they're inside, they are this kind of person. And at times it gets to a depressing kind of state where the child has lost who they really are because they're playing both sides when they're on the social media and when they are not. And two, it's not because of their wish. It's because parent made decision. Nevertheless, there are some who will be okay, or they use that as a platform, that their parent created a platform for them to thrive, and they use that platform to become even better, depending whether they liked it and how they enjoyed, or they wanted to now twist their life towards. Is it something that the parent should stop? I think the decision of the parent to do that was from a good space, unless there's someone who really wanted to say, I'm exploiting this child, or let me make money with my child. And I don't think there are such cases. All these parents make these choices from a good space, or from a good, or even to some, it's an opportunity. Like if you're given your child to advertise Pampers or to advertise, it's an opportunity even for that person to be able to pay bills based on that. Just understanding that they're coming from a good place. Would there be challenges or encounters they face in future? They are, but I think we can handle it then. But they also could be that when those children get to a point of making their own decision, I would ask the parent to allow them or to consult with their children. Is this what you would want? And if not so, let the parent apologize. If the children feel that their privacy was infringed, let the parent take that initiative to apologize. But if that is what the child would like, then they can nurture that, and the child can be able to achieve what they desire. I think that's what I would say.
Okay. So if there's a mom watching us, Dr. Kerubo, if there's a mother watching us right now, and maybe it's a first time or a third time mom, and they're really looking into going towards that direction, like because they saw their favorite celebrity doing that, and then they also do it without really thinking about the consequences, what that Rachel has just spoken about. How should this mom be prepared or prepare their child when it comes to them opening up their social media accounts and them going towards maybe the marketing, maybe the positive sides rather than the negative side?
So the reason most celebrities do that, for example, I know people like Beyonce, they open social media accounts for their children. The reason they do that is because when you're a celebrity, people abuse you and your children and their names. So if Beyonce had not opened an Instagram handle for her child, Blue Ivy, somebody else somewhere in the world would open a site called Blue Ivy and put bad things there, therefore maligning the character of Blue Ivy. So I understand why celebrities do that. It is to protect their child. But you, as a regular Kenyan, holoi poloi, you are not a celebrity. There is really no need to do that because, first of all, you are taking away the child's rights. It should be the child's right to open a social media account when they are ready. What if they wake up one day and they say, you know what, I don't want social media. I want to live off grid. I don't believe in Instagram. I don't believe in Facebook. But you've already opened one for them. For what purpose? Right? I think it's all egocentrism because technically it's just favoring the mother. It has nothing to do with the child's best interest. That's the mother purely wanting to use the child's name or the child's beauty just for her own self-glorification, which is not right. So I would tell any young mother, unless really you really feel your child is in danger of somebody trademarking and piggy banking on the child's name, there is honestly no need to open a social media account for your child. The good thing you can do that I've read somewhere is you can open an email account for them and then put all these pictures that you take of them, especially when they're small. You know, right now our phones are running out of memory because of all the pictures we have of our children. Put all those pictures in that email, and then when they're old enough, you give them the password of that email. They can access their pictures. That I would say is a good thing to do. But this social media, opening accounts for them for what? You know, it's not necessary.
Okay.
I can add something, Dr. Ari.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
At times, the keyboard warrior bullying your children on the social media hits harder on you than even you would say by the time your child getting to understand you. So as much as you would like your child to be on the grid or to be on the social media, the bullies have always a way of twisting. Look at the way your child looks like, and it has a way of affecting the way you look at your child. That is for the parent. For the child, you may never have known that side because either the parent used to manage the account. But that day when you're given the freedom to do it, and you didn't know that your parent used to delete the negative, they'll still be coming. The bullying becomes so much, and it's not because of something you've done. You're paying for the sins of the parents who exposed you to an environment that you were not ready for. Yes.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much, ladies. So now that you have maybe you are 14, 15-year-old, and yes, they're now on social media, and things, at least you believe things seem to be going on well. And then how do you draw a line between a normal use and addiction? And how do you really prevent them from crossing over to the addiction? Dr. Kerubo?
So, as with all addiction, same for bang, alcohol, cigarettes, cocaine, heroin, early education is key. Let not the first time your child learns about Facebook be when they are actually opening a Facebook account. Let them know about Facebook from a time of 8 years, 5 years, whenever they are ready to understand what social media is. You be your introduction. You be the introduction to your child on social media. Let not the friends be the ones who introduce your child to social media. You be the one to sit them down and talk to them and tell them, okay, there is such a thing as social media. These are the benefits. These are the harms. This is how to navigate them. This is how to avoid. So number one is education. Once you have the background and the foundation set, then at least that takes care of a lot of the shadows, the gaps, the misinformation that is out there. So be the first point of information to your child so that you can give them the right information. So that's number one. Number two, introducing it at the right age, as Dr. Rachel has said. So you can decide. I don't think there's a fixed number, but a lot of factors have to go into consideration. The development of the child. Not all 13-year-olds are the same. There's a mature 13-year-old and there's a very undeveloped 13-year-old. So you have to check how developed is your child mentally. Are they able to say no? Are they able to realize when something is wrong? Are they able to report? How is the relationship between you and your 13-year-old? Do you have an open communication where you can share when something goes wrong? If the communication is so broken down that you're not even talking in the house, they're running away from the house, there's no need of giving them social media. That will worsen the problems that are in the family. So the right time to introduce, based on the family setup, based on the child's individual characteristics, based on how the place you're in. For example, a 13-year-old in Europe is not the same 13-year-old in Kenya. So you have to take all those factors into consideration before you say now is the right time. Once you decide now is the right time, then it should be a gradual introduction and it should be a supervised introduction. So the first maybe 6 months, you should maybe be with her every time, or him every time they are on the internet, so that you see and you also show them this is how to chat, this is how to add friends, this is how to comment, these are the comments that are allowed. Nowadays, you can be reported for hate crimes on the internet. Yeah. You know, somebody posts something and you call them a goat or whatever. Especially in this era of Me Too, where a woman can say you have sexually harassed them because of what you posted online. In this era of hate crimes, where an Asian or an African or a Black can report you for racism because of what you posted online. In this era of homophobia and homosexuality, a gay person can say you abuse them online. So you have to be with them as they're chatting away or as they're typing. You tell them this is allowed, this is not allowed, because if you're reported, it can impact your career. You might decide one day you want to work in Google. They go back 10 years down the line, they see you had insulted a gay person, and that will be the end of your career in Google. So it has to be supervised. You have to be with them literally maybe the first 6 months until you're sure that this person knows what they're doing. They know how to type, what to type, how to say it, and how not to say it. So that is what I would say: early education and gradual supervised introduction, and open communication. As they are chatting away, let them also communicate to you and say, hey, today on Facebook somebody called me ugly. Let's talk about these things, understand them, and have a deep discussion about them.
Okay. So from what I'm getting is you must have a very strong relationship with your child, son or daughter, for you to be able to actually go through that journey. Because if for any reason your child finds the only way she or he gets accepted is through social media, then trust me, you can never be able to have such conversation. And they will not even be open to express their concerns or fears when it comes to social media use. So now, Rachel, so this parent has brought you a child and their concern is, you see, the boy or girl has been isolating, anger, withdrawal. You see all these signs that my child could actually having issues with bad internet use, and maybe they are even addicted. So what do you tell this mom or dad? What should they do? What are the alternatives? How should they try to replace that addiction with other activities so that their child, their son or daughter actually comes out from this addiction in one piece?
I think from experience of how you deal with addiction, withdrawing the addict from the issue that or the item that is addicting them suddenly cause more harm than remedy or like than improving them. So most of the parents will discover, oh, your child is antisocial, or your child likes to isolate themselves. And when you come to us and we tell you, actually, your child is addicted either to the TV or electronics that they are with. So if they are either with the TV, then go to the gamer, search. Most actions that parents do, they fast rush and they withdraw all the electronics. They are damaging their child completely. Because you see, the fact that the child is addicted means they get their entertainment or they get their source of satisfaction from the electronics. So when the parent come with that, we take them through therapy, and children learn very fast and as well as unlearning. So what we do is help the child get regulated times. Like you would say, the TV times have been reduced from 8 hours to 6 hours, or that's been reduced to 2 hours. The gadget that you used to do can only be accessed at 30 minutes, and it cannot be during the night when you're going to sleep. Such regulation, but also reintroducing alternatives. And alternatives are, let's say you're dealing with a 10, 13-year-old boy or a girl, reintroducing other activities that your child can do. If you're looking at a girl, can they be trained on how to do normal, basic processes? Like we can cook together if she's a girl, or you can get involved in washing the car if he's a boy, or even playing outside with other children that are monitored. Because also their anger may pop out in front of other children by hitting or rage. So there's also need to be monitored, even if they are playing with other children. They also need to be monitored because they will go to express their frustration when they are in the name of playing with other children, but they will be hitting. They will be very violent in that. So reintroducing them on how to socialize with other people. Today you're meeting so and so. She is in class 4 and it's like you, and today you'll be cooking together. So the child gets to admire that the other child also does cooking, or they get involved in preparing something, maybe a pizza or a cake or just something that the other girls are doing. You have brought an aspect that it is not him or her being punished to go play. No, even other children, this is what they enjoy. In fact, the other child will tell the other one that, by the way, I know how to bake pizza. Do you know? The other one will say, no, I don't know. Can you teach me? You're creating a new interest, but a hands-on kind of interest. You can explore other activities that your child can try. Is it swimming? Is it skating? Is it other outdoor activity? Because addiction comes with obesity, because these children only eat, sit, and glue their eyes on the electronics. So there is also will be having challenges with movement here and there. They will have challenges with those activities that you're introducing them. But also you can give them motivation. Like when you do when you successfully are able to involve yourself in either swimming or outdoor activity, there is a reward. And a reward is not meant to, like, you're buying them off. It's just meant to motivate them, that beside them feeling bored to wake up, last time we went for skating and I fell, and it is no longer motivating anymore, but just getting them to motivate to be able to, and until they get their stability, that they start now driving you, like, hey mom, are we not going for swimming today? Or mom, are we not going for skating? So reintroducing other alternative method of the child getting satisfied, and also teaching them the social behavior. Like, when I went to meet so and so, you were not kind. This is how you say hi. This is how you. So you're training your child again, because they have lost the social skills,
Yeah.
withdrawing or reducing the time that they used to spend on electronics.
And
Oh,
also one last thing is how to be good models as parents. Sometimes
yeah.
we want our children not to be on social media, but us, we are on social media from morning till evening. So if you are yourself addicted, you seek help first for yourself, and then your child will learn from you. You can't tell your child social media is bad, but you on Facebook from the time you wake up, the first thing you do is go on Facebook to catch up, and the last thing you do during at night is also to be on social media. So it doesn't make sense to them.
Yeah, that's true. Even there are times like some couples only laugh at their phones. Like,
Yeah.
like mom and dad at home, there's always total silence unless someone is on the phone. Yeah. And is there a way, Dr. Kerubo, is there a way of predicting addictive behaviors when it comes to use of the social media? Like, maybe what are some of the things that can actually predict maybe this child is more likely to go to addiction vis-a-vis this other child?
Okay, so scientifically, we are starting to understand that there is a genetic basis to addiction. So that's why you may find two people start drinking at the same age. They drink together every Friday, or every day, whichever. But one becomes an addict, the other one does not. How do you explain that? So there is a genetic basis to addiction. There is an addiction gene that some people have. So maybe first of all, start looking at your family setup, the background, your uncles, your aunts, your grandparents. Try to see if there is a genetic basis to addiction. If there is, then it means you have to be extra careful with your children. It doesn't mean deny them, but just be extra careful. Then number two, observe this child, how they've been with other things that can be addictive. For example, food. How are they? What is their relationship with food? Do they eat to live, or do they live to eat? Are they constantly eating even without a reason? Even when they are not hungry, they are just constantly shoving things in the mouth. That is a clue that is a person who can be addicted. What is their relationship to maybe other things that can be addictive? It could be as a toy, a specific toy. It could be a program maybe on TV that they must have it. If they don't have that program, hell breaks loose. So find other clues that could point that this child might actually suffer from addiction, later on. Even addiction to friends. You can be addicted to people. That's why you find some people in a toxic relationship, but they cannot get out of it. They are literally addicted to that person. So how are they with their friends? Is it a healthy social relationship, or is it a relationship that, hey, if so and so is outside, I must also go outside? If so and so is drinking soda, I must also drink soda. If so and so beats the other child, I must also beat the other child. It's like an addiction relationship. So observe your child, see if there are addictive clues that the child is giving off even before you introduce social media. But largely, I can say 70% you may not be able to predict that somebody will become it's very different. It's very unique. Addiction is a very strange science that we don't understand fully even up to this day. As much as you may have the gene, you may have the relation, the other clues of addiction, you may end up not becoming an addict. That's why socialization is important. That's why having a value system is important. The environment this person grows up in, what are the people surrounding this person, the models, the peers, all that bears into whether somebody will become an addict or not. If they suffer a traumatic event, for example, this child may not have the gene for getting addicted. They may never show the clues of somebody who may possibly get addicted. However, they suffer a traumatic event. Maybe they get raped, maybe a parent dies, maybe they witness something very traumatizing, and then they end up becoming an addict. So you can't really, it's not 100% predictive, I would say.
Okay. Well, so the key point is we should just remember a home should always be a haven of peace, and people should just find solace and fulfillment at home. And you should always, as I always say, social media is just social media. I mean, there's nothing else other than just that it is social media. So as we close, we start with Rachel. Please give your closing remarks.
In regards to electronics and children, I would ask that a parent to get to learn the attachment, because most of the addiction comes from attachment. How attached do your child get, either to you or to things that is around you? And most of the attachment, either they are created by the feeling of an emptiness. That when one feels I'm not good enough, no one appreciates me. So taking photos, putting filters, and putting them on the social media gratifies them. That someone loved the way I look, someone's loved the way I smile. So they're trying to fill in a vacuum. So as I wind up, I would ask the parents, do not allow your children to look for gratification from social media. Give them. They're all asking is that tell your child you're looking good, that I love the way you do. This is good. Let's learn to appreciate our own children, other than allowing them to look for that appreciation somewhere else. And also for those parents who feel the need to take a photo in the morning, post it, and then they say today my likes were 100. Get to understand you're looking for gratification. And if it's possible, you first get to understand yourself. Then the vacuum that you're trying to fill it up will not be filled up by social media. Because yet it fills, but it is short-lived. It's as soon as that photo has gone. Once you've posted and it's done, the next thing is that you're looking for another one. So social media does not gratify or does not fulfill that vacuum. If you find yourself that you're not able to move above that, come. That's why we are here to help you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Rachel. Dr. Kerubo?
I would close by just reiterating that social media, technology, gadgets are gifts, and they should be appreciated as gifts. And these gifts come from God, just like we have the gift of singing, the gift of preaching, the gift of healing, the gift of acts of mercy. We also have a gift of technology. However, it must be used in moderation. Children must be supervised. There needs to be an end game or a purpose with every decision and with every move that you make towards technology.
Thank you so much, Dr. So from me, what I would say is just let social media be social media. And as Rachel and Kerubo have said, love should start at home, fulfillment and all kind of attention should be fulfilled from home, not from outside home. You just go outside to express your talent and not to get gratification and acceptance for your talent. So thank you so much. Ladies, please tell us where your practice is as we say goodbye to everybody.
Rachel?
Kerubo? Okay, Rachel.
Yes, I go. You find me on all social media, even online as psychologist Rechael Mbugwa. But if you'd like to give me a call and make your booking, call me through 0728, another 28, then 4187. 0728, another 28, 4187. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so I'm found on Marvelous Diffabilities on both Facebook and Twitter. You can send an email in info@diffabaclinic.co.ke, or if you'd like to call, it's 0737 195 080. 0737 195 080.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm going to post all the contacts on the comment
Comments.
section. Yeah, on the comment sections, so that anyone can be able to reach them at any point in time at actual convenience. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. It is always a pleasure, and bye-bye.
Bye.